In Ayurvedic medicine, the primary cause of illness is understood in two ways. One way is it's understood to be, a translation would be the veiling of intelligence. So there's an intelligent way to be, and if one respects that, then one remains healthy. But if one doesn't respect that and does things like stay up 16 hours at a time regularly and not respect what the body needs, then who is to blame except the person who's living that way? And so knowing but still not doing it, that's the primary cause of illness. There's a way to be which guards health. And whosoever doesn't do that brings ill health onto themselves. So the primary cause, from this point of view, is the veiling of intelligence. That there's an intelligence in the body. If you listen to it, if you get in touch with it, it'll let you know exactly what you got to do, what you got to eat. And it requires quietening the mind and realizing that there's something stronger than thoughts which need to be paid attention to. Thoughts are rather ephemeral things that come and go, arise, and they can be, they can be seemingly sensible, they can be very strange, but they don't need to carry as much importance as they do. They're just thoughts. There's something that's stronger than thoughts. And in giving up thoughts, something stronger than thoughts arises. And when it arises, its intensity and integrity is unmistakable. And it puts all the thoughts aside. But that requires a certain discipline and a certain quietness. And the discipline to stay with one's mind until the thoughts are not the prominent thing, not the things that are running one's life. So whether or not one controls one's mind, or whether one's mind controls oneself, that's the distinction here. And so this veiling of intelligence is the mind controlling oneself. When intelligence operates, one controls the mind and takes it in this direction or that direction. So the other way that the primary cause of illness is described in Ayurvedic medicine is fever. The primary cause of illness is fever. And fever at the level of body is heat, burns the body up. Fever in the mind is passion and desire, to the point that it consumes the mind, it consumes the body. So a desire to have something, to be something that is beyond an intelligent measure. When it takes hold, intelligence can be put aside. So a person may, for some reason, have an idea that they want to be a millionaire, and everything else is secondary. Relationships are secondary, health is secondary. This is being consumed by a fever of the mind. Okay, so the primary cause is fever. And in this case, what's really being talked about is a fever of the mind. And as long as intelligence reigns supreme, then these fevers don't take hold and health is not lost. So, but frequently this happens. So the second part what we can talk about is what to do once it happens, and once it's happened, how to bring things back. We go back to this idea of giving into gravity, how to strengthen the body once there are signs and symptoms that there is weakness present. So, most important thing is rest. And again, it can't be determined theoretically how much rest. It's whatever rest is required. And rest occurs in different qualities. So a very high quality rest requires a shorter duration. Very important distinction to come now, and that is that rest, physical rest, is not much of a rest. Without mental rest accompanying it, it isn't much of a rest. So again, the ability to turn the mind off, to turn the thoughts off, and to remain in a quiet space when the mind is not yabbering and chattering and bothering. So this is where meditation can come in, for instance. And actually, meditation is a very interesting word. It has the same root as words like mediation, medicine, measure. Its root is the Greek metron or metros, and it means to measure. So to meditate is to take a measure of oneself and to see where one is and what one is and what one needs to do. That's meditation. So there are many techniques, but those are quite secondary. The purpose of meditation is to take a measure of oneself and to act accordingly. So mental rest is very important. Physical rest is not enough. One way to put the mind aside is to focus on the body. Is to focus on the breath. So let's say that there's 3 components that make up self: body, breath, and mind. Mind can be put aside if breath is focused upon. It can be put aside if body is focused upon. So something like the discipline of yoga or Tai Chi is great awareness is put on the body and not on the thoughts that are happening, but on the body and what it feels like, and on breath and how it is and how it moves. And if that is what is looked at, then the mind automatically quietens down. Other ways of quieting the mind is counting sheep, right? That works. That's how it's a perfectly good meditation. It's a kind of a meditation which utilizes the natural tendency of the mind to keep going, keep going, keep going. So you make it do something rather than be all over the place. So counting sheep is a wonderful meditation. You know, if you replace sheep with something else, it becomes very respectable, but it's really the same thing. You know, it's a very powerful method. Another way to quiet the mind in order to get rest is to completely go with it and get into its craziness. Really get into it until it gets what it wants and lets go. So one can either have it do something repetitive, or one can get into it so much so that if something is being thought about, think about it so much that it's finished, that you've put it aside. A very powerful meditation is, again, meditation is taking measure of oneself and improving oneself. A very powerful meditation is to let the mind go, except for one thought, that I have 10 minutes to live, or I have a minute to live, and what do I have to let go of in order to make that transition? Okay, and it would be something you might be in a lying down position, so you might be on your stomach on the bed or on your back. And to the extent that you let go stuff, that extent you'll actually be making contact with the surface of the bed. There won't be these little spaces here, because there's a tension spot here, a tension spot here, a tension spot here. When you let all that go, you actually make a complete contact. And that is in yoga known as a corpse pose. You are literally dead. Mentally, you've finished with everything. This is a terrific exercise because it trains the mind to be empty. And whosoever can empty their mind can bring health back very easily and very quickly. Because an empty mind doesn't fight the body. And with an empty mind, medicines work about 100 times better anyway, because it's not being resisted. So that is a very simple and a very powerful meditation.